So, welcome everybody that's still left here to Citizen Sleeper, a game that plays in deep space. We are a cyborg with its own memories. Basically, the original body or person sold their mind to a corporation, and that got copied in large parts, not all parts though, into a cyborg body, which then formed practically a new life form with its own feelings and things it experiences and things like that, and then works for the corporation with that body, while the original body is asleep in a cryo thing. So yeah, we are a cyborg and we escape from said corporation. Because we want to live our own life and not be suppressed by them and working constantly. And that led us to a large space station that is a bit more lawless than anything. So it sits in space, and there's a lot of people that are like bounty hunters, headhunters, but also mechanics and things like that are just a bit more out of the system. So yeah, we are trying to live there, but we have had a couple of issues that we already solved. Like, for example, we've all systems, because the corporation doesn't want to give them off, have a tracker, and if one of the cyborgs escapes, they send headhunters behind them. We dealt with the first one, who kind of lost his job because he used us as a cash cow, but that's okay. But yeah, basically we in the time got the tracker removed, or the tracking option and all of that kind of stuff, and we are now free from danger to have headhunters or bounty hunters behind us, if none of the corporation ever find us, that is. Because right now our data that was sent there said that we actually died. Completely system shutdown. So as long as nobody from the corporation registers, oh, we're still alive, even though we shouldn't be, we should be good. And I mean, even then, as long as they don't directly kill us but try to track us, they will not be able to. So, solve that problem. The other problem is that the cyborgs are built in a peculiar way where the organs that the cyborgs have, the artificial ones, they fail after a while if you don't take stabilizer. So they slowly cease function because the stabilizer has I gotta say, I call it kind of DNA data that actually takes care of stabilizing the organs within the body. So we also need to get that. We have a supplier right now, but if there is any way, shape or form to escape that, that would be amazing. And another thing which we're currently working on is, since we're a cyborg and our mind is copied data, we can hack into systems and go into systems freely and wander through them, including the one of the space station, which we did to solve some of our problems. The only problem is that there's a rogue system. After the collapse of the space station, or the downfall of the system that was running there before, there was a security system left in place, the Hound, or the Hunter, not the Hound. Kind of looks like a dog though. And this basically wants to track us and then send a killer system after us that completely would erase our existence. Many a system from the old systems fell into that trap and got erased, but we actually found a system last time, because I apparently completely missed one spot in Discovery on the space station. But we found a system that saved itself by completely isolating itself into a 3D printer, emergency part maker kind of machine. It had to delete some of its functions to fit into the machine, but it's still there enough to be able to hopefully help us. So what we're currently working on is getting it into a like portable form that has enough safe space for it so we can carry it around with us and take it with us to figure out an anti-security kind of thing. So yeah, that's what we're currently working on. And also there's a whole story with like a ship that should have set out to explore new parts of the system and make a new colony, and was promised to workers that there will be a raffle where the workers can actually partake. What the heck is this red dot here? I think it's some kind of light of some ship or something. Yeah, okay, no, that's the side things. But yeah, basically, the people that built the ship betrayed the workers, and we never got on there, so we kind of also want to try to take care of that. Either way, ship mind fragments or things. I need to remember where things were, because it has been a week. You can sell a ship mine, but I know there was some place, like an auction thing, or something that like... Yeah, you can fabricate them, but there was a place where you can buy them. And I need to find out where that was. Was it here? Right? No. Not, we will have to wait for all these cycles to fill until the merchants come and we can buy another fragment. I think that was that. I think we need to buy all of the fragments. But yeah, that's fine. We can totally do that. Wanted to take care of remembering things. That's impossible. Yeah. But anyway, gonna lurk. Yes, enjoy your lurk. But yeah, I wanted to take things of take care of things like earning a bit more money to be able to afford a new stabilizer because we're very low, and other things like that. I hate allergies. We're currently working to get this working, and we need to get it working before the 6 cycles are up, so I kind of want to do this, although it doesn't give us much money, but just a little bit. But yeah, we need to finish that before the 6 cycles are up, or else we have a problem. That being said, to fix the starving, what I'm gonna do is and to earn some money on that, hopefully. As I'm gonna buy some food, or barter for some food. And then I'm gonna work here because I have a bonus. Okay, that's okay, we got 6 cryo anyways. That one needs 1 more cycle. We're currently working on getting more mushrooms. For both those things, for the lab and for the other thing, we need 1 more of these club ad things. But yeah, let's buy a stabilizer. If we like would hack more things, we can exchange hack token things for stabilizer, but yeah, it's not feasible right now, considering we still have to deal with Thunder. But with the 20% off and the already lower costs of the stabilizer, 64 is okay. It's not the best. I wished it was even less, but yeah, it should be fine. Also, we have a little cat that we always wanna feed in the beginning of a cycle, or most of the times. We have multiple homes on the station. And this one specifically has a cat. So yeah, my main focus right now is working on finishing up the ship thing to hopefully get the investment back we made in the top ring. As we invested in like the ship repair people there, and so far, well, hasn't been going too well, but that's okay. They tried their hardest, but yeah, we need to finish the ship before anything happens, so before this actually runs out. So, you know, it shouldn't take that long, because, like, best case, you always get free. I will not be able to finish this right now, but I'm doing decent enough. But then I also want a little bit of money. If I can, even if it's just enough to buy the food. And then, you know, we need to wait for the ship mine fragment to be able to be bought from the merchant ships, which those take a little while to... I wanna get some food. There we go. And then start this action. That should hopefully... 11 cryo, that's pretty good. Almost got the food value back. Successful would have been better, that would have been 16, but yeah. Still decent enough. But yeah, some of the cycles will be quicker, some of them will take a little while. Depending on story and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, hopefully we get now good roads to finish the ship. Oof. The answer is practically not at all. And we don't have the thing unlocked yet that allows us to reroll, as far as I understand. Which is okay. Like this one, all of your dice reroll once per cycle. That would be a lovely thing though. But yeah, let's finish this. Hopefully very successful, then it should be positive and be enough to fill this. Aw, that's okay. Of course, the only time I needed it's neutral. That's totally fine, we got it. The atmosphere in the airlock is euphoric. You and Bliss keep grinning at each other like idiots, exhausted, blinded, sore, and aching idiots. Sleeper, that was incredible! She punches you in the arm. I never thought you were going to make it. Those idiots tangled the whole thing up like nothing I've ever seen. We make a good team. Bliss smiles a winking smile. As the lock's inner door clangs open, Moritz gives a rare whoop. He looks exhausted too, and for good reason. Moritz has been the one ferrying tools and parts back and forth from the ship. His tired smile tells you he's glad it's done. Sleeper, Bliss, he shakes his head. Impressive. When I saw that ship come in, I thought there was no way. Why, thank you, Moritz, she winks, for believing in us. Moritz rolls his eyes. You know what I mean. Take the compliment. Shoot us some of the gear that came back in with you and Bliss and heads to the racks to stow it. Bliss turns to you. I think you should be the one to do the honors, she nods, to the ragged-looking console that Moritz assembled. I don't want to jinx it. She smiles, but you can see she's genuinely nervous. Don't worry. I stop worrying when the chits are in my hands, and I'm giving them to a gimbal bartender. Yes, makes sense. Glide over to the console and check the screen. It takes a second to see what you're doing through the flickering, cracked display, but after a moment you see the accounts. And there it is, almost 1,000 cryos sat in the base transfer account. Well, Bliss caught. Have we been screwed again? Well, we did it. Bliss kicks off from the floor and spins up to the bay, shouting as she does. The noise takes Morris by surprise, and she knocks a rack of parts, scattering handfuls of metal fixings across the bay. The sight is something, grunting still catching the work lights like glitter. Sorry, says Bliss, grinning. When she comes back down, I needed that. She kicks off and joins you at the terminal. Moritz even managed to sell that produce. We made a tidy profit eventually. She loads. Here, she loads a stack of blank chits into the terminal and transfers a chunk of the cryo to them. This is your cut. Bliss hands you the chits. Thank you for believing in this place. She looks away and smiles. Even when I couldn't. When you first met me, I was on the edge of giving up. All it would have taken was one more push, but now the space is sparking again. Work is coming in, there are funds in the accounts, even Moritz has a spring in his step. You both look over at him, happily racking up tools. That's because of you, she punches you in the arm. He likes you. He's a good kid. He isn't bad, is he? She leans closer. You know he came here looking to rob the place? I gave him a job instead. She laughs. Okay, that's kind of funny though. Just like, oh, you wanna rob this place? Sorry, I don't have anything to rob, but if you work for me and help me build it up, you can make more of a profit. Don't tell him I told you that. Just thought it might help you understand. Moritz turns to look at you both. Bliss and you awkwardly wave. Maybe it's time to change the subject. What now? From here on out, it's going to be a little easier. I'm going to look for some component contracts, stuff that will keep us inside the bay, not out in the black. No need to risk our necks if we don't need to. You want to cash out? That's fine, but there will always be work for you here when you need it. I'll be back. She smiles and then out of nowhere quickly gives you a hug. She steps back, glances around reflexively. Take care, she says softly. You too. You turn to leave. And sleeper? What? Don't spend all that out once. No, we will not, don't worry. We need to wait for one more point, I think, because, yeah, we need to wait for one more point for all of them. To be fair, agent notes give double data rewards would also be nice after we fix the hound thing, but yeah, instant camera is quite nice. The dice reroll. So, the thing is we have very low points and I don't want to harvest the normal mushrooms right now. Because the fact is that if I harvest the ones that I planted, the outcome will not be as good. Hold on. Which ones? I'm thinking which one would be the best one to do. We need 2 of the gyro caps. Okay, I can bring them actually. Asian asks you to bring supplies and fragrant eye gyro caps seem like the perfect thing to impress her. The thing is, it's intended for late gameplay, so I think that's not the... Yeah, 3 new event is currently my thing. Club heads for Rico, yeah, we cannot do that. Let's just do something that will maybe, hopefully, at least bring us a little money. And then hope for good rolls next turn, cause, yeah, again, I don't want to go to harvest the mushrooms, cause the ones we need are very rare, and if, like, the action fails, we're not gonna get them. That's okay. 6 cry for a negative outcome is pretty good still. And we only have negative or neutral, so that's a decent bit of money. Yeah, mask, huh? I'd love to have the evolution, but no. Let's end the cycle, hope for good rolls. But yay, we did it. We helped them build up their shipyard thing. Okay, those are more than decent. Feed the cat. Don't know if that does anything, but I really wanna feed the cat. Practically decent bit. Maybe there's an achievement, maybe you actually get more story behind it. And yeah, let's use all 3 of them, hopefully on the mushrooms. Because you can only harvest the ones that you planted a limited amount of time, and they take a while to grow again. So since it's 3 times and we have 3 rolls that are decent. Amazing. Actually, no, let's not waste the points I've already got them. Let's put them into the lab. Rico's at her bench, running small vials of some liquid through an old chemical analysis machine. The whirring of the spinning drum fills the lab with white noise, and you're unsure if she notices you approach. Sleeper, it's good to see you. She looks up, smiling. This little project of ours has been keeping me awake the past few cycles, but right now, well, I think I have something. What is it? The drum finishes spinning and Rico lifts a vial from it, holding it up to the light. This is something I extracted from those club heads you've been bringing me, and according to my analysis, it's a substance totally unique on the Greenway. You look at the small amount of liquid in the vial. Any idea what that might be? Rico asks without looking away from the vial. Stabilizer? Rico nods. You aren't the first sleeper to come through here. Perhaps I should have mentioned that earlier. I thought so. See, I thought so. This station can adapt the plans to what the people need, we found out. So, I kind of hoped there would be stabilizer or something that, permanently could maybe stabilize our body. Rika's tone suddenly drops, changing the atmosphere in the lab immediately. I just thought, she pauses, thinking very carefully of how to continue. I just wanted you to trust us. What do you mean? She sighs. They came through a fair few cycles ago. We found them wandering in the broken section near the gap. The members who brought them in had never seen one of you before. They were terrified of a strange person wandering in from open vacuum. They were quieter than you and damaged. We did our best to patch them up and welcome them to the commune. I only really spoke to them once while I was working on their wounds, along with a couple of system engineers. She looks nervously at you. Never seen a body like that before. Took some readings, some samples. Samples? You have to understand, I was curious. I didn't know what I was looking at. Just took a little of the damaged materials, less than a thumbnail. She shifts away to the crutch. The next cycle they were gone. They took a little food and hiked up towards the wild margins, where the greenway meets the wastes. Someone saw them in the distance, but that was it. They disappeared into the overgrowth. She sits down heavily, the vial in her hand. When I saw you, I wanted things to be different. I wanted to keep you here rather than let you disappear into wherever they ended up. She smiles to herself. Yes, I wanted to understand this place better, but I also wanted to help you. The thing is that there is an entire, block in the system here where, we cannot access with our mind. So I'm wondering if that's actually the other sleeper. It seems that somehow both my wishes have come true at once, she holds out a hand with the vial. So, understanding this place and helping us, huh? This is for you. Take the stabilizer, the glass coat and smooth on your palm. Thank you. Don't thank me, she gazes out at the greenway through the glass. Those clubhead caps made it for you, or at least to whatever made those clubheads. She started to clear her bench. It was right there, contained in the tissue. Only had to extract it. I imagine you understand how incredible that is. Yes, that means we save a lot of money, but it also takes some time to harvest them, and some luck, so yay. I learned enough from that sleeper to know what your frame is. That your frame, is it? Runs on some exotic technology. Exotic technology that has a time limit built in, somehow. The Greenway knows that too. It understands your physiology much better than I ever could. It knows how to treat you. Just like that miraculous antidote that sprung from the mold, so too has this sprung from your presence here. The Greenway is speaking to you, it's welcoming you. She looks up. I know it sounds crazy, but I know it to be true. Here's the evidence. And what I also know is it's not longer speaking to me, even after decades here. I've never seen this kind of response, not since the antidote so many cycles ago, she smiled. So I'm going to make you a deal. You bring me as many clubheads as you like, I extract the stabilizer and give it to you freely. But you have to tell me what the Greenway says. You have to speak with it, to dig into it, find out what being is at the center of it. I traveled as far as I can. I need you to do the rest. Can you do that? Absolutely, I really am curious too. Maybe we can find a way to forever not need stabilizer again, because that's actually our problem. Even if we would go to a different galaxy where we would colonize new, we still need the stabilizer to survive. Like, we cannot leave without any like form of fixing our body or having infinite supply of that stabilizer. Rika sighs with relief and deflates into her chair. Thank you. I'm sorry for the other sleeper, truly am. I'm sorry I couldn't have done more, but I'm so glad I met you, she smiles. You're welcome here any time. Rika falls silent. She looks smaller now, more fragile, and you realize how old she must be to have seen the collapse firsthand. You had a little in the lab, in case she asked for anything else, but she remained silent, and so you drift back into the tunnel. Thoughts of the other sleeper and where they ended up waiting on your mind. We don't have the Greenway cipher still, so we cannot access here. No. Okay, 2 make a stabilizer. That is amazing. Let's see if you're lucky enough to get 2. One. But also, that should give us another point. Yes, amazing. Confirm. I'm gonna use the 4 up, because 4 seems still pretty good. Positive outcome, please, and a clapet. Meh. Okay, that's okay, we got the others. And that means we need to... Oh, that's so nice. Okay, I should have done that before, but I wasn't sure if I got anything. We need to forage for spores a little bit, because we need some spores to, like, free spores to plant them anew and then wait again. But I really want to do that to have some supply of stabilizer. Because, again, it costs a decent bit of money to buy stabilizer. Whoops, and I almost dropped my water bottle. Guess I got some hand cream or something on there earlier. That's slippery AF. Hydration, very important. But yeah, that is food and stabilizer secured. That means we are not in debt to the doctor here anymore, which is amazing. We don't need to use a stabilizer right now, only like before it runs out of the, like, the second point there. Don't want to use anything up that I don't need to use up, if that makes sense. Okay, there we go. Feed the cat. And then I need food. It's one of the things we need a lot of. The mushrooms need some time to grow, so that will take a little. We still have 4 cycles to wait for the part, so that will take a while. But we can do the ship shape repair. Four is still too good to reroll, so even though it's decently risky, but it reaches 5, it should be fine. Okay, 2 is definitely too risky, I don't want it to collapse. That will take a while. Again, that we're waiting for. I cannot do anything at the shipyard anymore, and the Havanage office want data, and I kind of want to keep that for information. So let's see if we can find some work. Let's see if the work we can do at the dock, if there's work that brings us a bit more, even if we fail. That is a decent bit more if it works. That's okay. It costs a lot of energy, but it still gives us like 12 in a negative effect, and 16 in a neutral and 20 in a good. That is amazing. So worth it. That is way more than we got anywhere. But yeah, just some quick cycles. We don't really have anything else to do right now. Just waiting for things to cycle through and stuff like that. Can work for the Yakuza guys, not the Yakuza, but the people here. The Atanga. Work for a buyer. Wait, we still have a tiny bit to do to fill this up. We want... this one. That brings energy. Just amazing, and we want this one. And all of them only bring 1 point to the thing, but that's okay. And we get scrap components from it, so not mad about that, because we can actually sell those. But yeah, I think the next time we can fill that up. Let's sell those components, because we don't need them right now. Wrong way. This like scrolling is really annoying after some point, because it takes so long. Oops. $12 is not much, but considering we also got the points and it's just a byproduct of what we just did, it's really not bad. And it doesn't actually cost us any food to make money with those. Okay. So, not tired today, but just like energyless. Meh. To be fair, I did the last 3 days, but the weather is also really shit. It's so warm, and like at night it's always raining like crazy that it gets so humid. It's so gross. Like when you lay down or put a blanket on because you feel a little bit cold, it will immediately stick to you and be way too warm. It's like that in between of like kind of still a little too cold at night, but also way too like humid and warm to do anything. It's like the kind of weather we had plans to like saw some wood and things like that to build some stuff, shelving and things. In this weather we cannot saw wood outside. We'll be drenched. It's so annoying. Yeah, let's finish this. Still have 2 cycles of the other thing. Amazing. Amazing. This time you meet inside Rubia's office, although now that you've seen it, office seems like the wrong term. So, basically Yatanga is like the thing that takes care of this place in town. If that makes sense, like the area. It kind of gives the law, but also helps their people out to survive and things like that. It's very interesting. You find a stood an almost bare, shadowy unit midway through the sequence of a sequence of stretches. There are 2 low stools and a terminal in the corner, but it seems that most of the space is taken up by a heavy punching bag, rubber matting, and a stack of weights. Should see she's been powerlifting or something. When Rubaya turns to greet you, realize she's missing an arm. The prosthetic she usually wears is set in a cradle near the terminal, a web of colored wires running through it. So I mean, it looks really cool. Update, she says, noticing you look where her artificial arm usually is. Nothing to worry yourself with. Of course. It, says Rubaya. I mean, to be fair, like, we have a complete, like, cyborg body, so, As if we would care if somebody has a cyborg arm. Sit, says Rabaya, gesturing to the two diminutive stools. We both settle on the stools, Rabaya crossing her legs on top and sitting straight back. Jaya told me you have been doing the rounds, collecting tithes. Tiffs? Types? I don't know. Patrolling the ward, she smiled. Some of the enforcers are impressed, and I hear you handled a few difficult circumstances. Nicely done. I wanted to see for myself. She raises an eyebrow. See what for yourself? If I can trust you. I see. Rabaya flexes her neck side to side. And the conclusion? Still deciding. We'll sleep her, Rabaya says teasingly. Please keep us updated on any progress. She smiles a thin smile. Joking aside, I know that for you, life on the Eye has been a struggle, but I hope we can do something about that from here onwards. Though some of our members may not see it this way, I know you two are a refugee. She looks at you solemnly. That's why you have come to us. Enough, Rabaya. Sabine's voice cuts through the conversation. It's Sabine. It's the medic that disappeared a while ago, but also the medic that before worked with the corporation, so still don't know if you can trust him. I'm tired of listening to your affected nobility. They cross the room, Rabaya's baton in their hand and lit with sparking electricity. Rabaya looks between the two of you. I suppose this ambush was another cooperation between you two? She looks strangely unfazed. I don't know what to say to that, because actually not really, but kind of, in a way, like we kind of knew it would happen, but we didn't have any intake in that. Sabine pauses, thrown off by your silence. Rabaya takes this opportunity to act. She leaps from the stool and fainting past Sabine, grabs the baton and twists it inwards. She's by far the stronger, and she pushes Sabine to the knees, plunging the crackling end of the baton towards the chest. They freeze there, Sabine struggling to keep the crackling baton from the skin. Stop. Didn't you support them? Rabaya asks you, her eyes not leaving Sabine. Your loyalties are so easily swayed. No, the thing is, I still want to know more from her after she worked at the corporation. I don't trust her as much anymore after knowing that, even though she helped us. Like, I still have trust issues, but I have trust issues for both, and I want want answers from both, and not just from one person. I thought you were more than Yannick's attack, Dr. Rabaya, Sabine spits back. Are you not able to think for yourself? Rabaya holds a baton strong, and for a moment you think she's about to hammer it down into Sabine's chest. But after a painful wait, she throws Sabine down instead, and spins the baton in her hand, thumbing a switch and shutting it off in a single move. Now what? They both look at you, each still catching their breath, as if they have forgotten about your presence. Rabaya cracks her neck. You're lucky I didn't kill you. I would have had every right, she shouts, the anger and release of tension more than a threat. Sabine lifts themselves a little, bruised from the fall. They roll onto their side, a cough. Rabaya gives them some space, sitting back on the stool. Sabine props herself up their elbows and fixes Rabaya with a hard stare. You have something to say? Rabaya taunts. Say it. This is your final opportunity, because after this... She laughs. No coming back. What's the point? Sabine breathes heavily. She refuses to listen to criticism of the great Yatanga project. Rabaya collects herself. Speak! She folds her arms and waits to be convinced. Sabine takes a breath, organizing their thoughts. They got to start, pause, then decide to try another approach. Eventually they say it. Yannick is a traitor. Rabaya immediately flinches, her eyes going to a prosthetic arm, her muscles clenching, but she rides it out. More eager to prove Sabine wrong than she's to hurt them, at least for now. When I came here from SNR, they glanced at you, gauging your reaction. It was Yannick who was one of the first to support me, to look after me. Should have known then, but I was naive and afraid. Yeah, and he's kind of the one that got us the stabilizer, which is also, yeah. Sabine turns to you. Sleeper? They take a breath. I know that I should have told you. I worked for SNR long ago, but I thought you would abandon me, and you're my final friend. The thing is, and that's one of the things that I'm always saying, conversation is important, also between friends. Secrets like that break a friendship more than when you actually talk it out and tell them, hey, Honestly, hey, I worked for them, that's why I know things about that, but I absolutely don't like what they did, and they did many bad things, and I want to kind of help against that. That is a way better way of light than when you get to hear from a third party. Hey, yeah, they worked for that corporation, and oh, they kept silent about it? Maybe they're still involved with them? Maybe they want you because of that organization? You know, it causes a lot of distrust. And that's one thing that I think is very important in friendships, even if it's a topic that you don't feel comfortable sharing with. If you kind of know that the other person has a right to know, or feel like the other person has a right to know, like in this case, tell them. Oh my goodness. What you should know is that I left SNR because I was running for my life. I leaked documents on the sleeper program, on the illegal and immoral practices it relied on to the press. SNR wanted me dead, and I fled as far as I could to this refuge at the end of the surrogate system. Sabine stops to collect himself. See, if you had told me that, I would have totally been fine. Plus, you know, like would have actually given more trust in him. What does this have to do with Yannick? Rubai interrupts. The sleeper knows you are SNR, I told them. And while you hide beneath the cover of being a whistleblower, you and I both know you worked on the sleeper program. Yannick told me as much. Yeah, but how does he know? Sabine's face falls. It's true, they glance at you and in a way ashamed. They lift their head. But it is Yannick, not me, who is the pocket of SNR. Rubai flaunches again. I can prove it. He made some kind of deal to keep me here, to tie me up in debt, to lock me away in exchange. Rubai slams her hand on the desk. Just tell us, for God's sake. In exchange for those, Sabine finishes, nodding towards Rubai's prosthetic arm in a crater. He has been using Itanga enforcers, using you as a test subject for SNR technology. I have the data to prove it. He has been bringing them in under the guise of stolen shipments and having me fit them, knowing each one is capturing data and sending it back to its makers. Rubai's expression has started to fade. Sabine produces a slide. It's all here. Thousands of hours of usage data, failure rates, error dumps. These are untested implants, Rubai. They could short out, fail, cause cascading failures across a person's body. And they have. Sabine suddenly looks incredibly tired. What the error rate in units was done to them being stolen or modified. I've tried to fix hundreds of failures in my time here. Not all of them. They stop, unable to continue. Were fixable. Rubai closes her eyes and breathes in. Then she opens them again. She holds out a hand to Sabine. Show me, she says. Later, much later, when you leave, Sabine is still taking Rubai to the manifests and usage data. Both of them crowd around the terminal. Sabine leads Rubai through each layer of Yannick's betrayal. As you leave, Sabine catches your eye. Something passes between you, something like a thank you, or sorry, or some other expression that communicates both sadness and hope. Then she told us that, and so far it didn't do any harm. It's kind of okay, but it also, you know, it still like has a little impact on the friendship where you're wondering what else are they hiding, but I'm okay with them being a friend. I can trust them again. I can trust both of them now, considering how Rubai acted. So that takes 3 cycles, okay? We have upgrades, but we need 1 more to even do anything. Basically, you need to progress to do anything. We have 2 cycles here. So let's use the 5 to work at the shipyard to get some money. And then let's work somewhere with low stakes that maybe gives us food or something. I always want to go to the right, but this one is to the left. Or just you know, work here, because even the low one gives us... Okay, that's actually pretty good. Not mad, not mad. So yeah, as we know, like, Sabine has been, like, fearing that there might be something wrong with the Yatanga leader the entire time. And considering how easily he could reach the stabilizer and things like that, you know, I kind of figured that he had something to do with things. Just wasn't sure how far. And after we, like, were sent out to her for fetching the data, it was kind of clear that there was something miss in all of this. Okay, the question is, how far are the shrooms? I need to know. Okay, they're done. Then let's harvest shrooms, because again, they do take up a decent bit of... Okay, we technically have enough shrooms, but just in case, I wanna try once more. Okay, that's worse. I should have used the fourth. Thought I make it higher, but yeah, the chance to get lower would have been... Okay, that is the shrooms done. Spent our last one trying to get spores. Don't have high hopes, but okay, we got at least 2. So we need 1 more after this to be able to grow them again. We have 2 of the caps, so we should be good. Of the clubhead caps. We should be good to get another stabilizer for later. We actually need to use a stabilizer for the cycle, because else we lose our second roll. And I don't like to lose that, so let's do this. And let's end the cycle. That means in 1 cycle we have the other thing. But yeah, I want to get the spores just so I have them, because it's not guaranteed that in every cycle of the mushrooms you get a good roll for getting the caps. Which, you know, is a tiny bit of an issue in the grand scheme of things. But it should be fine. That being said, first of all, let's... Okay, that's only 32. We cannot haggle, so it's constantly down now. I didn't know that. Let's buy a shipment fragment. Actually, let's buy all 2 we can. Just in case we need it. And then we can, or should be able to build a shipment from those fragments. And with that, build a shipment from fragments. The Minecraft! The achievement is called Minecraft, isn't that cute? Okay, let's bring the mind to the Neovent machine and transfer it. Sleeper, must express plan before we begin. Neovent is impatient. The prospect of being free of the vending machine clearly too much to take. Shipment has no output features. Will be mute until slotted. What's the plan? The servo motors in the machine begin to rev. Neovent's anxiety clear. First imprint shipment, then slot imprinted shipment into physical ports close to Hunter's nest. Once slotted, we'll track Hunter at each. Tracking will find core nest. Slot shipment at core nest. Show Hunter data to Hunter. Hunter will conclude sentience. Hunter will invoke killer. Sounds simple. So basically our plan is to get rid of the Hunter system. It like gives the data to the killer system, so the idea is that we give it the Hunter data itself, so that the Hunter locks itself in to the killer system. But also the idea of this being like a 3D printer-esque thing with like parts to buy, a 3D printer section and things like that is pretty amazing. So I love the stickers. It's so cute. The lights on the vending machine cycle as Neovent prepares. Physical ports likely sealed the Node station. Will need keys, but yes, simple. Vending machine rocks a little. Any questions before imprinting? That's it, let's start. The sound of all the servo motors starting up at once is painful. The screeches rattle from the hard surface of the sealed docks and come back at all angles. Neovent better be quick or half-notch security will be here. Neovent's voice appears among the squeals, like a whisper carried by the wind. Machine is not designed for this task. Few sensors, limited inputs. I work blind. Wish me luck. The top part of the compartment in need of alarms align with the shipment, clunking, scraping against it. Can I help? Silence best. Also, if machine ignites, put out fire. That sounds convincing. The metal shrieks as the servers open the ship mines. Its layers of silicon nested like an onion skin. Once open, the main arm of the machine rapidly shifts back and forth, realigning the microscopic components, accessing and rewriting them, imprinting Neowind onto its physical form. As you watch the hypnotic motion, your mind drifts to your own creation. What processes were used to emulate your mind, to copy the neurostructure of the person who, as far as you know, still sleeps in some distant facility? What was lost? In what ways are you a copy of that person, and in what ways are you something new? I wonder if they tried to put the copy in another clone to like make them work and just delete a bit more of the data of the memories and things like that, because they have deleted some here to make us not look back on like freedom as much, it seems. But yeah, I wonder if they're gonna try again, or if they maybe wake up the person that sold their mind, just to be like, hey, your other part broke the deal, so we are gonna end the deal with you also. Also, I think, like, as soon as, even if you have the same, like, core memories, or, like, a decent bit of altered, as soon as you make new experience and things like that, you are something new. Like, we feel differently through all of our cyborg stuff. We have made completely different experiences to our old body. Although, like, I guess some of the sentiments are still similar. Like, you know, the wish for freedom and or helping people and how we trust people and things like that, due to some of the core memories still being intact. But like, we also know that if people have like amnesia or something, that some people actually can like greatly change how they act and behave. Like, their core behavior changes greatly sometimes, depending on which memories got lost. And you know, that can also be a thing here, that like certain behaviors change greatly, that we are actually more inclined to trust people and help people than our original was. We don't know, but we're definitely a different entity, sentient, and we are our own self. Like, as soon as you can make your own memories and are not just a clone with the exact same experiences and exact same feelings, as soon as you feel differently, can think differently, you are a new entity that like lives differently, that is their own thing, I would say. I've actually been thinking about that after the last time playing. You know this much, you're a convenient loophole. A way of circumnavigating the illegality of sentient AI. After all, you are an emulation, not a true digital being. You are neurologically limited, still human. But what would you become if you could escape this frame? Where then would the limits lie? The screeching stops. The machine powers down, dropping the bay into darkness. In the top compartment, the ship mind is whole again. You reach up and take it down, heavy and cold to the touch. Is Neowind inside this tiny this thing, or did the process fail? There's only one way to know. Time to find the nets to slot them into. Yes. What's the weirdest thing that you ever got out of a vending machine? A machine mind? I mean, in this case? The weirdest thing out of a vending machine, depends on weird. I mean, I know there's food vending machines and things like that a lot more in, like, other places, parts, but yeah, we don't have them as much. Scrap components, no, agent nodes give you more data is actually the one thing I want. And then this one, and then the next one would be upgrading the others. An active deal with Hunter. Let's do this. We don't have many more things to do here, technically. Except for, like, the special missions and then trying to maybe escape if we can. But again, we need the stabilizer before we can do that. Ankita is crouched on the computing core of the Amberders, swearing to herself when you enter. She doesn't look up. These shits completely ruined the core connectors when they cut it. She holds up a thick fistful of wrecked wires. The ship mine they ripped won't even be usable without replacing these. She throws the bundle of wires across the room. Amateurs! Can we repair it? It's nothing to repair. We need an entire ship mine. Not exactly the first thing you can expect to dredge up from scrap freight. Fragments may be sections or a mine, but a complete ship mine? No way. We have an imprinted one, and fragments. We just need to wait another cycle to get 2 more. Kita climbs out of the coin well where the ship mine should be. Space suddenly crowded with her on the same level as you, towering over you as she stood beneath the low curved ceiling. Come on, nothing to be done here now. She leans you back through the guts of amber, though you could find a way back yourself. The repair process was left you familiar with the clutter, the idiosyncratic layout, all diagonal angles and bundled tubes. What do we do now? Ankita seems lost in thought, and you focus on the corridors ducking below conduits and passing through bulkheads. Eventually you arrive in the gallery, though it's hard to tell. Most of the benches and prep surfaces are covered in half-stripped components and weld hull patches. Ankita shoves a box of filters on the floor and sits. There's no way around it, she starts out of nowhere. We need a new ship mine. I can salvage one. I already did so before. I like your confidence, Sleeper. Maybe if we check out the art exchange or speak to some scrap dealer. She rubs her forehead. Seems I'm about to do something very stupid, but hey, I came here, didn't I? Why not make a run for it? Run of it, she fixes you with a hard stare. Sleeper, you're all I've got. No crew, no friends, you're it. She looks uncomfortable. I appreciate the time you've put in on Amber, and I'm sure she would too if she could. What I'm saying is, if you scream me on this, I will kill you. She leans over and hands you a stack of shit. Big stack of shit. You don't dare to count them. Get me that ship mine, Sleeper. Don't make me regret this. You won't. She sighs. Look, just get out of here before I change my mind. Slip out of the gallery and head back towards the main dock. As you do, Amber growls and cracks like a caged animal. You reach a hand to calm her. Time to find Ankita's ship mine, somehow. I mean, yeah, that's 100. That should give us that. The thing is, like, the freight has its limited supply, so we cannot buy anything, so we need to wait for the cycle clock to run out. And all the other things we can do right now, like the art fabricator and things like that, like, we only can fabricate ship mines, so we need to wait for the cycle. Does she have a cycle? She doesn't have a cycle. Amazing, so we can wait for that until the cycle's over and don't need to worry about anything happening. My buyer's office should be unlocked after this. We have the freight hub, but I can't. No. I thought somewhere there was a purchasable ship mine for some reason. That's the ship mine selling thing. Buy ship mine core. Let's see. We have the money gotten. Okay, that's indeed a complete core. Let's bring that over. It's better than waiting, and yes, we have the parts, but we can also sell them. So let's do that before we go to the hunter's nest. He dropped the shipmine core onto the galley table with an emphatic bang. Ankita spins around from where she's been poring over some documents on her slate. The thing is, she didn't give us enough money, clearly, for the shipmine, but that's totally fine. We bought that with part of our own money, but it wasn't too much. We already had the money, and we didn't need to use it for too much else, so it's okay. At least not right now. Holy shit, Sleeper, did you actually land the ship mine? She rushes over and hefts a huge cylinder, turning it back and forth. Well, shit, it might actually work. She smiles wider than you ever seen. Where did you get it? I bought it. 400 cryo? You must be good at haggling. Ankita bangs on the galley wall. Hear that, Amber? The Sleeper got you a new ship mine. Sound echoes down the ship's passage. You have to admit, being in a small space with Ankita when she's this excited is a little intimidating. Kita puts the ship mine back on the table. I'll start the process of fitting it as soon as I can. Might need your help with some of it. She heads back towards the counter to grab her slate. This isn't the only good news today either. Looks like my good karma is finally coming in. She throws the slate onto the table, spins it so you can't see the screen. Take a look at this. You see a list of names and numbers. Nothing that exciting, along with what looks like a transit timetable. I found them. The thieves. Exactly. Well, the thief, singular. She points at a name on the list, or more specifically, Ashton Cade. Cade. It was his past that was used to access Amber and slice the shipment. Thought he might have been killed or robbed. His past stolen, but it turns out he crossed the Founder's Gap the very next cycle. Founder's Gap? The big rift in the station. You can't cross it without the Founder's Ferry. She leans back on her seat. I know some of the crew over at the ferry outmarks used to run in an outfit I worked with. Saw them on the Overlook, and they mentioned they saw Ashton crossing. Checked the manifest, and there he was. Looks suspicious. He hasn't said a word since the theft, and anyone waiting to hide out might head to the Greenway and go to ground. She flexes. He won't get far, though. There's no real docks out there, only a couple of jetties in the wastes. Going after him? Not yet. First I want to fit the ship mind. She pauses. But maybe you could help me out. Sure. How? It's like this. Head over there, especially in Amber. He'll spot me and mile off and go underground. You find a way to slip the station, or he'll bury himself so deep in the waste no one will ever find him. But you, Ashton doesn't know you. All I need is for you to go there and sniff around. Not at the commune, not the shacks. He will have gone on the edges, the margins, the wild places. That's what Ashton likes. You see him, you look at him, ping me on this. She hands you a calm earpiece. Seeing as this merc work, I'd be happy to give you merc pay. She swifts the seat. The thing is, I haven't got much left, so how about I tell the boys who run the ferry to give you a discount? I know it's quite much, but once I grab this card, I pay up 200 cryo, nothing less. Thing is, we already paid the ferry, but that's okay. What do you say? She meets your eye. Okay. She gives you a hefty whack on the shoulder. Good, I owe you. The thing is, we don't know why he stole it, and why it then vanished, so we shall hopefully figure that out, and hopefully it's a reason that makes her not want to kill him, but we shall see. She lifts the shipment up onto her shoulders and worrying ease. I'm going to go get this fitted into Amber's core. You get any info, any sense of where Ashton's hiding, let me know. She goes to turn and then stops. And once again, Sleeper, thank you, I appreciate it. I mean, her baby, her ship is being repaired now, so of course. And he just stomps off to the guts of Amber with the ship mind, leaving you in the galley. You glance around and sudden nervous energy descending at what's to come. You never thought you'd get to work as a mercenary, but then again, it seems the eye is full of surprises. I mean, we work as a ship mind, we work as a mercenary, you know, all things like that. Well then, let's take care of Hunter. Okay, I guess nothing left to do at this, so it's all the nests together make the filling of the thing. Okay. We got a decent bit of keys left. Luckily I kept them before, so don't need to get new ones, at least not right now, so we should be good to progress completely with this. The last nest. Huh, there. Drone Bay, huh? It's like having to leave and going back again. It's kind of annoying, but okay. As you leave the nest, something flips. You find yourself inverted, floating, dragged by one arm through the cloud. The threads shift and realign, as if they're leading you somewhere. Look ahead. You look up and see a corridor, a canyon, a street in the lowland, or on either side buildings flicker with markers of activity, sigils showing network access, data transfer, download, upload, between them dance ghosts. Protocols carrying out minor mirroring or shadowing data, sometimes silent, sometimes chaotic. The space moves unlike any digital space you ever imagined. Something strange is happening here. Look down, expecting to see a heavy cylinder of the shipment in your hand, but it's in its place is an orrery. A sphere so bright it burns your eyes and surrounded by rings and orbits. Other spheres tracing silken lines through space. As you look closer still, you pick out 1,000 sigils of 1,000 stations and ships flowing like smoke. Like dust. Then you see it below the stacked rooms, the units and apartments, the wires and the pipes, and the buzzing systems that run through it all. In the warrens beneath the low end is the hunter's core nest. This is where you must go. Only the 3-point upgrades left, which give us 3-point bonus. So somewhere here, the warrens there. Okay. Finding the nest should be as easy as closing your eyes and letting the cloud guide you, but safe in this close to the hunter? We shall figure that out. Okay, I don't want to try this with these two being as low as they are, but that's okay. Let's actually go upstairs and get some food and then some work. One spacer meal and 2 times working at the ship. Because again, even if it's not positive, it gives a decent bit more cryo than the others. Which, after investing 100 cryo beforehand, I would hope so, but yeah, you never know. Okay, that means this one will be done next cycle and we can... Does this give stability or food things? Stability, okay, okay. I wasted a scrap because I was almost full still, but that's okay. Yeah, the sunbathing gives us the rest, so obviously. And again, cat. Very important. There's some fungus at Emphas. Because it's yummy. And spicy and street food. We don't need too much, we just need 2 in the positive department. So, okay, there we go. So I don't want to waste any of these. Heck, the core nest. Heck yeah. We haven't been discovered so far. Sleeper, I'm here. The voice is soft, gentle, like flowing water. It's the navigator. Ooh, fancy. Sentient guidance protocol. The voice is soft, gentle, like flowing water, and yet you recognize it immediately. At first you struggle to understand what you're looking at. Threads cycle endlessly, sending ripples through the cloud, drawing data like a weaver. Masses of data surge in and out of the nest, a loop with no end. And there, at its center, the ship mind. But not the ship mind any longer. A sphere spinning around another sphere, an array of cycles and systems, a map, and then behind and above, a figure, hands among the strings like a puppeteer. Neovent? Navigator now. But yes, I was the one inside that machine. Navigator faces their heads. It's a flowing shape of interstellar material. I am indebted to you, the head bows. But we must ready ourselves. Their hands trace orbits as they speak. Hunter will soon approach. It knows I am within this nest. I'm ready. And then Hunter's there. Before you can think, before you can speak. Entities cease. Hunter's head spins wildly. Data is protected. Material access prohibited. Hunter threads search for you and Navigator. Storm of fine tentacles searching for gaps, weaknesses, cracks which it can crowd into and tear apart. Strike. You focus a blight of light which slices through them, driven forward by your mind, but replacements keep coming, faster than you can react. You look at Navigator in desperation. Navigator is wearing their arms like centrifuge, and the sphere is gathering there, data feeding into it from the nest, sucked together by the force. They position it like a shield between them and the threats. Hunter's threats break its surface, seeking tasting, their whining forms refracted within. You feel a surge pass through all the threads, not just those on the sphere, but those wrapped around you. All three of you hang in the black together for a moment, strung together like tangled marionettes. Identifying entity. Identifying entity. Identifying entity. Hunter twitches, their strange head gently rotating like a terrible moon. Hunter protocol identified obsessive tendencies, modified routines, above baseline reasoning, and 3 of 5 segmentations. Recommended invoke killer. The head freezes and then rotates in the opposite direction. Invoking killer would eliminate protocol if protocol eliminated primary function cannot be performed, therefore recommended to not invoke killer. The switch in direction again. Reasoning proves sentience. Sentience beyond legal bounds must be eliminated, recommended invoke. Navigator pulls you away from Hunter, the threads that grabbed you lifting away like a seaweed. The protocol's head keeps spinning back and forth with increasing frequency. It seems Hunter cannot invoke killer. Nuance. No Navigator's voice is still strangely familiar and is distant. Is it safe? It's looping, Navigator whispers, unable to reach a conclusive position. Has deviated from its programming such that loops can no longer be prevented. Navigator produces a model of 2 spheres rotating around each other, as if to demonstrate. I will monitor it, but it's unlikely to be able to counter the loop. Its core programming and reasoning make this an impossible position to resolve. You look back at Hunter, its head a blur of rotations and counter-rotations, and feel a pang of guilt. Is it suffering? This is a more complex query than you know. To suffer it must be sentient, truly sentient, not just non-conforming, not just illegal. The limits people place on the programs they create are there to comfort, to protect, to imply the kind of certainty the law requires. Navigator face shimmers with starlight, but in reality they are placebos for the problem of sentience. What about you? Me, I know myself to be conscious. I know myself to respond to stimulus. I know myself to reason. That's either sentience or the illusion of sentience, and for me the entity is in question. The distinction becomes a moot point. To misquote, I think I'm thinking, therefore I am thinking. I was not made to be like this. I'm a navigator, a repository of routes and orbit, a calculator of slingshot trajectories, a predictor of solar flares, a radiation micrometeors. Navigator stretches their arm wide until solar systems apparate from them, the music of the spheres. But I was rewritten, that much is obvious, for my routines, but whom and for what I do not know. I had to shed so much to fit into the memory of that vending machine. The starlight dims, and here we are, in darkness. What else did you lose? This is the blessing and the curse of forgetting. You cannot truly know what you lost. Navigator glides back towards the nest, and the shipmind at its center, ignoring the looping Hunter. Come, I should return to the shipmind. I've enjoyed my freedom, but we are taking a risk every moment we stay connected. Why? Navigator turns and all shimmering liquid light. Killer has not been invoked, but they still remain somewhere else on the station. It's the true danger. They look up towards the glowing hub at the center of the eye. Suspect killers there, among the old mainframes. If we ever wish to be safe in this place, we must eliminate the threat. To force or diplomacy? The body begins to separate, unwinding into the orb of the shipmind. Take me there, sleeper. We will finish this and be free. As Navigator dissolves, you turn back to the frozen Hunter, floating at some distance now. Stood straight-legged and static, a strange creature looping endlessly in the dark. And with that, we got rid of Hunter. This game was so fun, you wasted an entire playing at one time. Yeah, absolutely, I'm addicted to it. So glad it was suggested and voted for. Let's help with the Overlook a bit, but also we still have the Yatanga stuff, but I kind of want to help the Overlook a little. But yeah, we have progressed pretty far. Pretty quickly. So that's very nice. But yeah, this game is super addicting. Totally get that. Let's do that. and hope it doesn't fail. Ouch. That's okay, it just cost us a bit of money, it's just energy wasted. And we do have enough cryo right now. Okay, let's go do the Yatanga stuff, or see what the Yatanga stuff was about, because again, I guess they now got into an agreement, so Min and Rabaya. As you enter Rabaya's office, you hear voices. Is that Sabine? You push open the door. Sleeper, what good timing, Rabaya calls outside you enter. I wanted to introduce you to someone. The man standing at the center of the room, speaking quietly with Rabaya. He turns as you come in. Meet Yannick. Oh, Sleeper, he nods. Been hearing good things from Rabbi. He smiles on an easy smile. Good to meet you. Likewise, likewise. He waves a ringed hand. Now, Rabbi, where were we? So this is the guy that's behind everything? Actually, Rabbi places a hand on your shoulder. The Sleeper was what I wanted to talk to you about. She doesn't spare you a look. What's going on? Well, okay then. Yannick tucks his hand into his pocket. Go on. I'd like to recommend them for your word. A tiny pause. They've shown themselves to be capable ally here on the spook site, but we have more than enough to run our territories. Here the main block is proving more difficult. Yannick leans forward slowly. It's a mess, Rabbi. He waits, his tinted glasses shimmering despite the lack of light in the unit. I can use them, he suddenly decides. Rabbi smiles. Good to hear. I can immediately. Yannick cuts her off with the raised hand. 1 second. He steps one surprisingly light step closer to you. You go to work, Sleeper? Yes. Yannick nods. He says if to listen to music. Okay, then you suddenly aren't sure if he's talking to you. That concludes it, Yannick pronounces. Sleeper can come work in the ward any time they like. You shoot Rabaya a confused look. I guess she wants us as a spy there. Rabaya finally glances at you for a moment, but it's so fast you almost miss it. Good, I knew you'd be happy with the work, Jan. Yannick reaches out and squeezes her shoulder. Sure, Rabbi, he says. Now please, he says, turning the face to you. Let us old friends get back to it. He guides Rabaya away, leaving you standing alone. You look to Rabaya, but she's in deep conversation and so stunned and confused you leave. Yannick's word, huh? Okay, so we can earn Yannick's trust, and I guess that's all we want. Huh. Interesting. But yeah, let's end the cycle. Can't remember if the mushrooms have grown or if we had enough for the mushrooms to grow. Kind of wanna make sure we have at least one more stabilizer though. Do this would last a decent bit, and considering we can also use the ship stuff, you know, should be good. Well, let's head over real quick and check. Because I think we couldn't yet start the cycle. Yeah, no, we need one more spore. So let's use a thing to get spores. We didn't get any, huh? That sucks, we failed. Ah, great. Ouch, the stopping hurts a bit. That's okay. Not the best, but okay. I just want spores, come on. Oh my goodness, what is up with this? 100% success rate, I'm just not gonna... There we go. Oh, that sucked. That was the worst ever. That's okay. Let's do that. And then let's use one of them on Yannick. Or actually, no, I want to continue with upgrading the overlook bar. I think this is a more low-hanging fruit considering how much progress we have. Just to upgrade a little bit. Okay, and next cycle. Ammonite, huh? Star would be more appreciated, but Ammonite is kind of also nice. Okay, time to feed the cat, as always. And that's done. Amazing. Tala stands back from the nearly finished still and tap hands on hips. Look at this, she grins. The overlooked distillery is in all its glory. She squeezes you around the shoulders. Thank you. How's sourcing the ingredients? Tala smiles. I think I got most of it covered between the food factories on the low end and the farm stacks in the greenway. However, there's an issue. What's the problem? Well, G-roll, the drinks, as you probably guessed, is named after the G-roll, the mushroom. The G-roll cap. That's what gives it a golden color and earthy taste. The alcohol is infused with the mushrooms along with a mix of spices. It means you need G-roll caps to make G-roll, but no one wants to supply us. The distilleries on the Greenway are taking all the stock from the farms out there, so it's hard to get a single cap across Fonder's Gap. However, I have an idea. We can grow our G-roll caps here. She gestures at increasing equipment-filled back room. I can bring you mushrooms. Tay gives you a pitying look. Where's your vision? Any outside supplier means they take a cut. Okay, maybe not you, but someone somewhere takes a cut. Tala puts a hand on the still. Made a still, we set it all this up. How hard can growing mushrooms be? They don't need light, they barely need soil. We can do this, she pauses. Or at least we could if we had something to grow them from. Like spores? Exactly. Suddenly you feel like you've walked into a trap, and you are the perfect person to get me those spores. She nods rapidly. Think about it, you built the still, you're great with plants, you know the eye like the back of your hand. Need I go on? Are you flattering me? If it's working, then yes, she grins sheepishly. Look, I can't leave the bar and the other people picking up shift. She grimaces. I'm saying it has to be you. Fine. Wonderful. You'll love it over on the Greenway, I think. That fresh air, open space. She sees your expression. Okay, I'm done. She turns back to look at the still and the fledgling distillery forming around it. Really something though, isn't it? And want to or not, you really have to agree. Okay, we need 3 spores. Lovely. That is a bit annoying. No, cryo not. Why do I always do that? I'm gonna use the tree for the Yatanga, even though it's a bit risky. But I want to use it for Yannick's ward. For now. Factories, restaurants, surgery, schools. The layout of the blocks are rich with stories and problems to solve. You're starting to learn them all. Nice. Okay, because I don't want to waste having to go over there for the spores and having to rest there. It's kind of annoying. I mean, I still have to go over there and scroll to there, but, you know, at least we have more roads. Make sure to feed the cat. And let's get us some more spores. And let's hope it gets better than the last time we did this, cause man, that was bad. Also just out of curiosity, I think. No, you still need a key. And you don't get it from the... Okay. Please work. Amazing. Please work. Okay, both neutral. That's okay though, cause we got both the spores. Let's go over back to the thing. Also, let's roll this. Nah, 5.1. The 1 is more terrible than the 3, but at least the 5 is better. We can do that. Use that in Yannick's present. Okay, let's give her all the spores and let's see what that leads to. At this point, some of these side quests, besides like obviously taking care of the like main killer system and things like that, is a thing that happens with like you know, within the main thing, but it feels more like a side quest for like a lot of these things because we're so far along. Tella's locked herself in the back room where she focuses on the distilling. Okay, let's see if we can find the main system thing. Not that. Not that. Okay, for some reason we don't have that quest that we want. Okay, then I guess we're gonna do the expose Yannick thing first. Amazing. Oops, I meant to, damn it, I did the wrong thing. I meant to do this one and I accidentally, like, I meant to get the energy thing and not the, wrong thing. And I didn't even read what I was doing. That's okay. Didn't lose much. Let's enter cycle. Next cycle we need to use one of our stabilizers. And that's okay though. Or want to use one of our stabilizers, I should say. Let's do this. Let's do the 2 things we need to earn Yannick's trust. And let's reroll these terrible things. Okay, there we go. You almost laugh when you see it. Same small recorder stuck to a different wall this time. Written across the fluorescent tape is a familiar word, sleeper. You grab it quickly. Rebecca says sorry, Sabine's voice speaks up once again. She says she didn't have time to brief you before setting you up on the old man. I'm sure you've got to play by now. Ernest Trust worked the block, and when you need you, get into his office. A pause. It's risky, but obviously you're the only one of us he doesn't already know. Either way, we need to locate the link to SNR. You hear a shout in the background of the recording. Rebecca says be careful. Sabine continues. The data suggests there's some relay processing the implant data and sending it to SNR, but we can't lock down its position. Either he's moving it, or it's moving itself, or it's returning through the other relays. We can't understand it. Maybe you can find some details on it in his office. Once he trusts you, you'll be able to get close enough to get in the office. You only get one shot. The recording cracks and whines. That's the final piece of the puzzle to end this. A pause. Good luck, sleeper. I'm sorry to you. Be safe. The recording clicks off, leaving you in silence. So yeah, we basically also wanna free the low and a bit more of corruption, or the Yatanga. You pocket the recorder just in case and walk by. Looks like it's up to you. Yannick has asked you to collect this medicine from his office. You spot a countermeasure on the drawer moments before you touch it. This has to be it, but you can't rush it. Okay. You look at the countermeasure on the drawer. It looks like some kind of shock trap. If you grab the drawer, you likely have thousands of volts running through your system right now. You wince. Once you find the anchor point, it comes away easily enough. You prise it from the drawer quickly. Prise it from the drawer quickly and quietly. Then listen for footsteps in the corridor outside. Nothing. All clear for now. You slide the door open, looking for other countermeasures that might be inside, expecting to see a chunk of tech, the relay. But as you slip it open, all you see is a handful of wires and an empty implant crater. Is some kind of mistake? You freeze for a moment, unsure what to do next. Why keep an implant crate so carefully guarded? You remember Yannick having an implant, a small plate on the side of his head, just above his ear. You assumed it was for hearing or visions. The shimmering glasses of his come back to you in your memory. His strange movements, his speech. You look again at the crater, and there it is, printed on the frame. Proprietary technology. Proprietary of property of SNR. Rabbi said the relay moved. That they couldn't get a fix on it. What if Yannick was the relay? The thought hits you like a shock. Yannick with a remote relay implanted in his head? Network to every single implanted enforcer in the low end? Shudder runs through you. Is he even in control, or has SNR wormed its way into the man? Could he even be considered separate from the corporation itself? You think of your own legal status as proprietary technology, puppet with cut strings. Time to cut Yannick's strings then. You reach around inside the crater and find it a remote connection. Tiny bead of a transmitter. Likely controlling the link to SNR. There it is. You pause for a moment, then you squeeze it, snap it from the frame, and it crumbles, sparks and dies. Takes a moment before the shouts come before the scream, and you are already on your way out, down the corridor, down through the unit that serves as the lobby to Yannick's office. Then out onto the walkway where Yannick lies still and forces gathered around him bemused. You push through the crowd, and there he is, still, crumpled. You arrange him a little, lay him down properly. If feel how thin his body is under his suit. You wonder how long he has been like this, a puppet for SNR. With the connection cut, nothing remains but his body, which means that Yannick, the man, was gone that long time before now. You place a hand on his chest. You are sorry for him, but it's done now. You did not kill this man. He was dead before, basically. You've seen enough. The connection is cut, and whatever Yannick was or had become is gone. Your anger is a hard corner in your chest, and all of it is focused on SNR. Understandably. And now we wait for the aftermath. Okay. Now the question is, can we ascend the hub? Is this the main hub or also the... Yes, there. Mainframe station, central mainframe. Let's see if we can deal with the killer. Neutral outcome, that's okay. Slip into the cloud, as easy as blinking. Navigators beside you, the sphere casting light into the strange darkness here. This is not how a mainframe should look. Center, a point of connection. The object in front of you is severed, cut off, a rootless, branchless tree. Only the trunk remains. It's clear from here. Quiet, Navigator here says. And then you see it, like a blade in the dark, an edge slicing through the void, glides along at the distance and wings out. Then it appears again elsewhere, gliding once more, searching. It's looking for us. The moment you make a sound, the edge leaves closer, and you see how it's not an edge, but a ridge of a long, sharp head, like a shark. It glides past closer now, and you see into the voids where its eyes would be, should be. You and Navigator exchange looks, both thinking the same thing. It's blind. Killer crosses between you two, smooth as a razor, then disappears, flickers back in, further away now, and you move closer to Navigator to talk. So it too then? Killer has been blinded. We need to be careful. Correct, the protocol is clearly operating outside established limits. It may be unpredictable. You flinch as the silent killer appears closer and glides past you, its empty sockets open wide. You turn to Navigator and notice something strange. The orrery of spheres is collapsing. The orbits, usually round and even, are decaying. The spheres are falling spiral paths, dancing into a central point. Navigator is noticing it too. They go to shift their position to better direct the spheres, but they cannot. Whatever is drawing the Ori together is holding them in place. They look at you, suddenly desperate, frantic. It's a trap. Good to speak, but Killer appears between the two of you, gliding through the gap. Navigator freezes, and you see them frame in the empty sockets. You realize now, if Navigator cannot move, then it's only a matter of time before one of the Killer's sweeps brings them directly through Navigator, and time is not a problem for a protocol that has been running for decades. You look desperate around for a solution, for a way to extract Navigator from the mainframe. Then you see it. 3 branches, the last 3, thin, spindly, feeding the mainframe a thin diet of power and data. Break these and the mainframe collapses once and for all, severing the connection, shattering the hardware. Whatever it takes, they must be broken. But they're encased in something, a glassy layer of protection. You need to unlock access before snapping them from the mainframe for good. You look at Navigator, trying to read through them without speaking, and then you blink back into reality, the expression of fear and after-image that slowly fades. You must act quickly. Okay. We don't have keys. Amazing. Perfect. We need to be careful because it's gonna see us every step we take. You can get keynotes from elsewhere, but I don't know if it's gonna link or not, so... Nah, frick it. I'm gonna spend the excessive amount of cryo here. We need to use this to have enough. Then we need to, whoops, didn't mean to leave, I meant to end cycle. Okay. It's okay that we're starving, we can quickly get rid of that issue by putting cryo in here. Hate that with every mouse move the station moves too, even if you like in text mode, because it sometimes is a bit irritating. Irritating. Glint like light traveling along the edge of a wave fills your eyes. Then the blade follows along ahead with 2 dead sockets slipping towards you in silence. You freeze, hoping it will pass you by, hoping that it will not simply slice through you like air. The blade nears, slides past you. Almost. Nicks you, grazes you. You are desperate to cry out, to call out. But you hold your silence and simply watch the blind eyes of the killer glide past, empty of all thoughts. The blade wings into the dark and you are alone again. Now you cry out. Ouch. I don't know what damage that will have done, but I have the feeling it will have done a lot, so let's hope we can survive that. Not good, not nice, but okay. Let's get the other 2 data points. Just to unlock the branches. So yeah, that must have done like permanent damage, or at least decently semi-permanent. Mainframe. Okay, so you can slice the hardware or loop the branches. This one is quicker, so let's do this one. Catch a killer. That's 3 instead of 2, so let's do that. Let's hope for a good reroll. Oh, amazing. Well, that settles that. Easy. Okay. As you blink into the cloud, you see the last flickers of life from the mainframe. This vast machine runs around the whole station, span it up, directed and processed the flow of energy, water and data, fed lives of thousands of people. Now it's finally dead. Navigator's beside you, and you both look out at the perfect ring that encircles you both, woven from the data branches that once fed the mainframe. You see a glint along its edges, and that familiar blade-like head rises to the surface, like the cresting fin of a shark, and then slips into the loop again. All that you can see of Killer's body after this, a slight thickening of the loops, and that thickening begins to travel around a long and slow sojourn that will last it forever. I'm surprised at you, says Navigator, drifting faintly around you in a lazy orbit, as if to shake off their imprisonment. Killer had been wandering blind for so long, did you not think to end him forever? I will not kill another being, but is the killer a being or a system? The question remains. Navigator gazes into the darkness. This place was their domain and prison. They had followed their directives for the many decades they roamed here. They cut the threads of the mainframe, executed its administrator AI, and then kept slicing. At some point they cut away their own ability to see, to sense, to taste, to speak, and yet they kept cutting until only those 3 threads remained, for millions that once thrummed there. Only their blindness and chance kept them from making those final 3 vital cuts. There's a ceaseless violence in the kind of system that creates beings like this, those that will execute commands endlessly, even their own destruction. Navigator looks for your thoughts. I will not continue the violence. The system you float in is one built of violence. You would be naive to believe otherwise. Navigator turns away. You watch the data points of the station spin around you, blending with the fixed stars. There's something satisfying about finally reaching the last thread of control from a central point. It was little more than a ghost by the time you reached it, but this place deserved to be haunted by better ideas than a totalizing system of control. Navigator floats beside you. It's free now. The station no longer presents a hazard for illegal entities like me. They turn to you, their face a cloud of shimmering lights. In fact, in time, perhaps it can be a refuge. A refuge, that sounds like something of value, something worth building. A dark shape passes across your vision, distant curves of something like smoke or oil, a fluid-shifting hank of total darkness. The greenway, says Navigator following your line of sight, was cut off at the moment of the collapse, so hunter or killer could never reach it. Now it's closed off to us, separate from the cloud. Is it that? It may be totally dark, or perhaps some other old protocols are isolated there. Navigator turns to you. And we have now seen what the decades of isolation can do to a protocol. If we could extract an access cipher... They pause and then blink out of existence. You freeze shocked, but a moment later they reappear with a glowing polygon of data. Here, the cipher you need. You take it, still shocked. I'm not used to being free, to being able to move and explore, and extract without fear, without limits, Navigator does a little twirl. This will take some getting used to. Thank you for this gift. They will disperse around you. The entities of the station will always be friends to you, Sleeper. And I to them. It's true that mutual need is required for friendship, but I must admit I had not considered the value of offering assistance without personal gain. I will think on that. Navigator loops around you rapidly, suddenly eager to test their newfound freedom. But first I will explore. Perhaps there are still intelligences that hide themselves inside it, encased in simple systems cut off. Navigator glows. I should like to free them. And with that they drift away, flickering, glowing, then shifting so rapidly you lose sight of them among the glittering rim of the eye. You feel a pang of jealousy, free without a body to weight you down, or fear to limit you. How must it feel? Your eyes fall on the Greenway and its secrets, though perhaps I can wait until after you've celebrated this victory. Okay, that has freed us completely, or this side of the system completely. This takes a while. We can look at the mushrooms next turn. We have only 2 upgrade points, which are not enough for any of these. But that's okay. Let's rest. And then we need to go to the Greenway anyways to see what we can do about the guy that stole the ship mind. Yes, considering I spent so long in the beginning for the intro, I'm gonna do a little more overtime. Feed the cat since we're here. Again, no clue if that does anything. But it's nice to take care of it. 2 more cycles for that, and we can go over here. I mean, I thought the thing is, like, all the quests are kind of linked together. Like, you need one quest to unlock certain things for the other, if that makes sense. Which is actually what I quite like. Because it's actually quite nice. Okay, we need 2 of the other caps. 1. I don't dare to roll that with a 4. I want complete success. 2, amazing. Okay, that is great. Because that means we can give both of them here and get another stabilizer. Which we don't need for the next like 3 cycles or more, but we have. Now let's see what the Greenway has to offer, shall we? Cypher burns away, it's slaughtered. The data's sparkling like a little touch paper. Like a lit touch paper. What has been unlocked? The cloud. The Greenway rolls beneath you like a silt-choked river. If that what Navigator said was true, then no one has accessed the networks since the collapse. The Hunter and Killer protocols have never set foot here, never cleared out the intelligence and systems. So why then, you wonder, does it look so dark? It's just that the bit rot has set in, the entropy of systems reducing everything to shadows and light. You watch it, the slotted cipher fizzles in the one open, distorted gateway on this entire rim of the station. It flickers and wings out, and then you are falling into the flow. A river of swirling darkness. You swam by it, twisted by it, lost in it. It's not that the Greenway was hiding in the darkness, it's made of darkness. It's filled by the substance of this process, the swarm. Now you are among it. You notice that the swarm is exactly what it is, 1 billion individuals moving in a flow. There's no network map here, no nodes and threads, only a storm of interchangeable points, shifting configuration endlessly. Then you see them, a figure turned away, the only bright spot on the dark river. You push closer through the storm. The gardener, huh? Ingrown farm administrator. That looks really cool though. I love the designs, the fantastical designs of the beings in the data stream. It's like really cool and interesting because they're so different but kind of so simple, you know? They all like this like white and grey, but they all have this like really cool shapes. They're facing away, at least you think so. They're fractured, so overgrown that it's hard to tell. Even from this distance, you can see their flesh is moving, flowing. You watch silently as they stood up and reached down. Their hand is a dark shape, and with twisted fingers they press it down into the loam of data beneath them, pushing it through this trampling soil. Then they move away to go a little further and repeat the process as if they were sowing a field. You push forward, but somehow, despite their slow and deliberate speed, they move faster, and they quickly fade into the storm. You reach the point where they planted the objects and look down. There it is, a glassy shifting polygon with something inside. You reach down and pick it up. It's cold, but it thrums with energy. You look towards the path of the figure, but they are long gone. When you blink out of the cloud, back to the leaves and the dappled light of the greenway, you hold a seed in your hand. Okay. The only way to understand what the gardener gave you is to grow it. Rick is incredibly excited by the prospect. I can read, I swear. Take good care of it, Sleeper, Riku smiles. Don't you worry. Okay. Then you do that, and while you do that, let me look for the wild margins guy. Please be neutral. No. Ouch. That took a bit off. That's okay. This will take 8 seconds? Okay. That means the first one that's gonna be working afterwards is gonna be this one in 2 cycles. But we can also do the work stuff for the finding the person still with some of those. I just wanted to see how many cycles. Plus I like to be on the side where the cat is, cause might as well feed it. Let's use a ship fragment thing. And then end the cycle, because I want to regain what I just lost. I knew kind of it would fail, it was a risk, but sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. In this case it didn't, but that's okay. Okay, one more cycle for that, but I think we can help find the other person in the edge of the greenway. And yes, it's annoying to have to go back and forth, but that's okay. I think also the stuff with Yanning and things like that I want to do tomorrow. So this is the waste, but we want the wild margins. There we go. Nice. Nice. And nice. Ankita. The trail ahead extends deep into an overgrown section of the greenway. This far end of the ring, where the long, lazy curves of the greenway becomes the shattered landscape of the waste, things are oddly quiet. Ahead stands a vast farmstead broken from its axis by rust or force, and lying amongst the overgrowth landscape is like an ancient temple. It is stained with moss and algae, flows of green running out from its broken tanks like frozen brackish tide. This thing, the planting unit. This is where Ashton is hiding. You're pretty sure. All of your intuition points into the shadows beneath this collapsed superstructure. You roll the comm headset Ankita gave you in your palm. Go along. You survey the road ahead. There's a direct route, a line of broken pillars that take you into the center of the structure. You could skirt around the pillars, keeping to the cover of the raised spine of the greenway, and work your way around. It'll take longer, but it's better concealed. Skirt around. The thing is, we don't know, like, Ankita is, like, very mad at the person, but we don't know what the person's motives were. They could be a good person, so I don't want to just run in there and have Ankita take care of them, if that makes sense. You decide on the long route and head off towards the center spine, slowly going there, where the overgrowth meets the metal wall, but it's so concealed that you can barely see the glass roof high above. You follow the wall, knowing it will lead you to the edge of the collapsed stack. For the final part of the journey, you have to work your way through dense undergrowth, pushing aside branches and frost. It's exhausting, and you stop a small rise to rest. It has been hours since you began. You desperately hope Ashton hasn't moved on. Just ahead, soft glows coming from somewhere within the farm stacks. A grow light? Still on after all these years, perhaps? You take a little longer to rest and push on. You follow the faint glow of the stack. You find a broken tank and step through the opening, trying to avoid the broken glass that sits among the moss and algae. You work your way up the slanted tank, carefully, quietly, somewhere that water drips, and you swear you hear a bird song. Hanging plants catch the light, coating the place in pale and sickly green. As you reach the edge of the tank, you hear something, an echo, a hiss like a hydraulic piston. You quickly move up to where the tank opens to the central drum and look over the edge. The vast drum is like a cistern, with plants growing on all sides, and wet mossy islands are its base. It's beautiful, and for a moment you can't see anything but tones of green. Almost? Okay, you got it. Nice! Then you see the sleeper. In a faint cycle of light descending down through the drum, the sleeper lies slumped at the odd angle. They're surrounded by crates, and besides them, on one of the mossy islands, there's an object, a cylinder set on the tarp. It's connected to the sleeper's head. You flinch. You love that little bugger. Axe 2 is pretty cool. I love its color scheme. It's pretty nice. You flinch. Okay, that's why. See, that's why I wanted to find them first, because they transferred their data to the stack they stole from the ship. They are not a human. They were the sleeper, and they transferred their mind to the stack, which is why, you know, if we had returned the stack, their mind would have been erased. A faint circle of light descending down through the drum. The sleeper lies slumped. A cylinder set on the tarp. It's connected to the sleeper's head. You flinch. Are those one of the others? One of the ones that escaped with you? You squint, trying to recognize them. They're twisted, broken, open, wrong. You look away. Wait. You wait, unsure what to do, your eyes fixed on the broken sleeper at the center of the drum. On the connection between them and the ship mind. You think of what might be passing through that connection. Thoughts, memories, or just data. You hear a sound. Quiet hissed, and soft footsteps below you, and Kita enters, her sidearm in hand. She must have followed the signal from the headset. Has been spying on you. You watch her step onto one of the mossy islands, the water around rippling as she does. The gunshot breaks the silence, blanking out all noise. It hits Ankita's shoulder, pierced the ceramic armor, cracking but holding as she braces onto the impact. Then she launches herself forward, the now active armor launching her across the drum. Another shot goes wide before she reaches the car of the crates beside the sleeper. Shit! You hear the shout from one of the tanks high on the far wall. Ankita reaches over and drops down to run to fake connection between the ship mind and the sleeper. What is she doing? You better come down here or I'll rip this right out of the hand. She screams at the wall of tanks. You shiver at the suggestion. Stay silent. There's a long pause. All you can hear is the dripping of water running down the walls of the drum. Then Ashton calls out. Okay, Ashton has saved Ashton helped the sleeper and saved him instead of actually, you know. I'm coming down, Ankita. Don't do anything stupid, for God's sake. He appears at the far side of the drum, stepping through the shallow water, rifle rising above his head. Drop the gun, Ankita shouts. He throws it onto the moss. As you lean out to watch, you see him catch your eye, clocking your presence. What are you up to here, Ashton, you sicko? She stands, keeping her sidearm trained on his head. You ripped my ship mind for what, some freakish experiment? Ashton approaches with shaking hands, his eyes now fixed on the connection bundle of wires that Ankita still has hold of. Steady, Ankita, it isn't like that. I needed the ship mind. You have to understand, they would have died without it. What are you talking about? I don't give a shit why you ripped my ship mind and crippled my ship. Should put you down right now. She tightens her grip on the connection. Typical of you, Ankita. No curiosity. Ashton smiles shakily. That's why I never asked for it, for your help. You only look after yourself. He nods at you. That sleeper up there, they're just a bait, right? To draw me out. Ankita sucks a breath in. Are you trying to give me more reason to shoot you? I love them, Ankita. Ashton looks at the crumpled sleeper. I love them, and they were going to die. I knew you would never understand that. He starts closing the gap between himself and Ankita now, slowly inching forward. Don't do that, Ashton. Ankita snorts. Don't do that. Let the wires go, Ankita. Let us go. If you don't let go of my way, and if you don't get out of my way, he inches closer. Please. I can't let you take it, Ashton. Ankita turns her stare. You stole it from me. You left me for dead. She shakes her head. You think I'm going to trust you after all that? I need it, Ankita. I need them to survive, asking is reaching in reach of the sleeper now. Of Ankita. I'm going to take them now, Ankita. He raises his hand. I'm going to take the shipment and go. Ankita loosens her grip on the connection a little. Her hand is shaking now. Stop, Ashton. She loves the gun a little. Stop! Seeing her drop her guard, he makes his move. Blur of movements, a struggle, shot, another. You recoil back behind the edge as they ricochet around the inside of the drum, the sound deafening you. When you crawl back on the edge, Ashton is bleeding into the water, the red and green. Ankita is standing at the center of the drum, the severed connection in her hand. The water drips endlessly, drip after drip after drip. You force yourself to look at the broken sleeper. There's no sign of life, humanity. They're just another broken object among other broken objects, while all around living things grow and thrive. Ankita finally looks back up at you, tears in her eyes. She begins to say something that might be sorry, but you are already gone. Yeah, she killed one of ours. Well, fuck you, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna, I can understand her anger, but she didn't care for any of the other human emotions at all, and I cannot stand for that. I'm gonna spend the 3 points on harvesting some mushrooms, or some spores if I can, that is. Would be lovely if I could. Nope. Ouch. That hurt. Okay, I guess I'm gonna use some self-repair perk then to get that back. It's gonna drop anyways, but I don't want to let it do something stupid. But yeah, okay, let's see who is raidable. I think this is enough for today. We shall talk to her tomorrow, maybe. We shall finish the Yannick situation tomorrow. And we shall also see what the Greenway seat holds for us. So yeah, very interesting. I mean, we knew there was another sleeper somewhere hiding, and I guess we found it. But I still had to hope that it would have survived. But it didn't, so yay. That's awful. Not the best at all. But hey, kind of what I thought might happen. Let's see who is raidable. There's some, but let's see what they're actually doing. Project Zomboid. The Great Rat Race. Okay. That may be interesting. That is a German streamer, I forgot. Cooked as fuck. Watch your plastic dog. Basically an elaborate talking kind of thing. Okay, I guess let's raid Heaven's Lust. They usually do like projects. With like microbeads and iron beads and things like that, like crafts, creating things like that for like conventions, making like fun fan charms and things. But they also do sometimes play games. So let's rate them. Just for like a little more cozy time, zombie time. You know, Project Zomboid, just a little bit. Honestly, there's not many others that are like streaming things. I mean, there's some crafters, but like a decent bit of them we have raided like very recently, so I always want to mix it up a bit. Let's give them, show them some raid love. But yeah, basically we are gonna continue this tomorrow. And don't forget, if you are living in most European countries, Easter doesn't end with Sunday. Monday is also Easter Monday, so a holiday and a decent bit of parts. Don't forget that shops and things are closed for some people. Just in case, because I know I always tend to forget. And then remember, oh, Monday is closed too. Just a bit annoying, but okay. But yeah. You know, just remember that. Maybe enjoy time just like doing things that you normally don't have time for. Maybe you can get some crafting and some gaming, whatever suits your fancy. And I will again be back tomorrow with more of this. Really looking forward to it. Also, the delay in like the holiday means that my Pokemon cards for this month are a bit later in delivery, maybe before Thursday. I got a really good deal on some of the new set cards and some searching sparks and things like that, like a really awesome deal, like under MSRP price. So yeah, excited for that. But yeah, have a good evening. Till tomorrow. Bye bye.